And we're back to Injustice for Music sessions. The first session, actually, on Metallica.
Four guys nerding out about one of their favorite bands, and now we are going into the part where it'll probably be a lot less love.
The controversial era.
Okay, let's get right into it. Load, 1996.
Yes, the best of all time.
Let's give our all-around ratings. For me, honestly, it's like a 3. It's not so much I dislike it, it's just that I don't really care for most things about it.
I think for me,
oh yeah, so it's either
should I? I'm not sure if whether I should give any ratings because I wouldn't be able to give a fair judgment because, to be honest, I never heard the album in its entirety. I mean, I've heard songs here and there, but I've never sat down to listen from track 1 to the last track.
Oh, actually, I did last time when I was reading Metallica's biography, right? When the chapters were talking about certain albums, right, then I just put the album on and listen to it. It doesn't sound terrible. Yeah, it doesn't sound terrible to the point where, like, you know, it's not distractingly terrible. Where like you would look around and say, "What fuck is this? I gotta change the song." It's just different. Does nothing more.
And it's not like for me. Okay, for Load, the reason why I'm such a huge fan of Load, which I would put it on par with Justice, and this is the most controversial thing any Metallica fan has ever said, because most Metallica fan, you're either this side or this side. You wouldn't be both, right?
For me, I'm call the cops on you.
Yeah, but there's a reason why that is because when the first Metallica song I ever heard in my life that I recognized as a Metallica song was I Disappear. At that time, I was a Limp Bizkit fan, and Limp Bizkit had a song for Mission Impossible 2, and Metallica had a song for Mission Impossible 2 called I Disappear. So then there was S&M concert, and then at that time, Garage Inc., Load and Reload was still fresh. So if you go on Napster and you search Metallica, the first few songs you'll find is always the newer shit. Right?
Lars is watching you.
Yeah, Lars. Sorry, Lars. But you know what? Lars realized is one thing. Though. If not for Napster, right, a lot of people wouldn't have ever bothered even knowing who Metallica was. I discovered so many bands because of Napster that I would have, and I eventually spent on that shit. So like, so the reason why I say Load is on par with Justice is because there are so many songs there that at one point in my time was Metallica. Like this before I understood that there was a difference in all the different albums, because again it's from Napster, right? You only get it song by song. I didn't know that this song was from Load or that song was from Justice. All I knew is that there are so many songs on this album that I liked, and when I found out eventually that this is from Load and Reload, and I consider Load and Reload to be one album. There's more weakness in Reload, definitely, but if they could just kick the bullshit away and put one album, I think it's still one of the best albums. But of course, whether it's a good Metallica album or not, is depends on who you are, what kind of fan you are.
Okay, I think if I retract my statement on the not giving it a rating, right, I'm gonna give it a rating now. It's not a numerical rating. I think this is an ad hoc case by case basis kind of rating. So I'm gonna rate it vanilla ice cream.
Vanilla ice cream. That's a pretty good rating to give, sir.
No, it's nice if I eat it. I mean,
the definition is like so lah. Like
no, it's like that, if it's there, I'll eat it. But it's not something I crave for. It's not something I actively look out for. So
to me, it's like it's a very average Yong Tau Fu. Like, you know, if you feel like eating Yong Tau Fu at a kopitiam, right? But it's not like this place is damn nice that people tell you, oh, you must try this place Yong Tau Fu. But you just have a craving for Yong Tau Fu. So you go there, you pick the things, and maybe there's not that many ingredients for you to choose, or don't have your favorite one. So whatever, like, you just pick a few to go and eat for lunch. Then the chop not that nice, but whatever lah. If you're really craving for Yong Tau Fu, it's Yong Tau Fu lor.
Yeah, so this is my vanilla ice cream lah, and okay lah, hungry now. Let's get George talking about Load.
Okay, I'll be very honest with you guys about this album. Okay, first of all, I'm going to rate this probably about 4.5. Okay,
what?
I mean but okay, my reason for this, right, is because, right, okay, I'll be very, very honest with you all. Later on, if you're gonna ask me what's my favorite track, right, I have never really listened to much of their songs. I think there's only one song I listened to, which is King Nothing from this album. That's all. Okay, and the reason why I refused to listen to it was back when I was like what, 18, 19, 20 years old. That was when I started to listen to more of the first 5 albums of Metallica, right? So when I started to listen to Load and Reload, right, that was a time I was like, shit, man, this is totally different already. This is not the thrash metal that I actually wanted from Metallica. I mean, it's not thrash metal anymore. It's already like a hard rock music, you know, but it's still a good hard rock music, okay, is to be honest. But if you, I rated it 4.5, right? The reason is because if you want to put it under thrash metal genre, yeah, it's no longer
Not
there
fresh.
anymore.
Yeah, it's not even
Yeah,
fresh.
so that's why it's 4.5. But if you were to ask me to, okay, let's just say because I mean I roughly listened to it only, but if I were to rate it as for hard rock, right, probably I'll give it like a, I don't know, a 6 at least. Yeah, from this
Vanilla
rough
Ice Cream,
listening.
right?
It certainly wouldn't be even a heavy metal album. It's a hard rock album with a bit of country influence, I would feel.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the thing though. I don't really even find it to be that good of a rock album anyway. Like if you are in the mood for that kind of rock, right? Got many much nicer things also.
Yeah, but it's
96,
not
right?
bad, right? It's not bad.
96, right?
Yeah.
What other rock albums were coming out in 96?
96.
Alice, it's probably the grunge, right? The Alice in Chains, the
Soundgarden.
Nirvanas, the
Yeah.
Soundgarden.
I mean, now that you mention it, right, all of these guys kick loads ass.
Yeah, definitely.
Now that you mentioned Alice and who else was around at the
Yeah.
time, but as a Metallica album, I like it because Metallica isn't a heavy metal band for me because I work backwards. How I discovered them with their worst "I Disappear," which is a shitty, stupid, not very good song, but it's nice. But
The
I
intro
work
is like
backwards.
hey,
Yeah.
right?
So
I remember like
work
Kirk Hammett was
backwards
running,
back to-
right, or some shit.
Kurt Hammer's always
Yeah, they
running.
were- he was,
Yeah.
He's always running on stage also, holding his guitar, just running.
Apparently 1996. Okay, I'm googling albums that came out in 96. Okay, No Code by Pearl Jam. Apparently 1996 is also Antichrist Superstar, Marilyn Manson.
Seriously, wow.
What?
I'm a huge
That-
Manson
yeah.
guy. Yeah.
I didn't
That
know
was
it was
like-
996.
Yeah, I
It was
also
like
didn't know.
2000
Wow.
or something like that.
New metal was
apparently-
exploding. New metal was exploding at a point in time. I think Korn was coming out as well. Sepultura,
yes.
Sepultura put out Roots during the era also, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yeah, correct.
Hey, for your additional information, I think like you know the album of Load, right? This over here.
Semen.
Mhm.
Yeah, I heard it's made out of blood and semen mixed
Yeah,
together.
it is.
That's
It
what
is.
they
It's
said,
it's
yeah.
cum and blood.
Yeah,
Common
it's
blood.
just it's just weird. Well, I mean, like when I first looked at this picture, I thought it was like maybe
Doesn't
like
look like
a
Metallica, yeah.
it's like maybe painting of like trying to paint like a fire or something like that.
Yeah, like one
Yeah.
of last $1 million artworks.
Yeah.
And just a PSA, if that happens to you, see a doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you see load in your load, you see a doctor.
So maybe that's that's the thing. That's why they call it load because it's
Yeah.
Oh, it all
1996
fucking
is
makes
also,
sense now.
1996
and
is
it's
also
also-
what a Great Southern Tramp came out in 96 also.
There we go. You see,
Oh.
I think heavy music
know
is
what that is.
heavy music is Pantera. So I think heavy music has taken a big shift during that era. Also,
Yeah.
what with grunge spearheading the rock music movement, and then
I never understood
Korn
what
and
grunge was.
Deftones. Korn and Deftones were out.
Oh,
time
Deftones.
as well,
Fuck
yeah.
yes.
And
At one point in time, they were damn good.
yeah,
Deftones one of my favorite bands. Their first album is one of my favorite albums ever.
Oh, they're great.
Adrenaline.
Probably the only album that I know that they had was that first album.
you know,
What
I
was
bought
I know.
the album
I
with
bought-
the horse?
White
There's a
Pony.
white horse.
White
Oh,
Pony.
yeah, I think that's the
White
only
Pony.
album I listened to.
You know, I bought around the fur.
solid also.
I bought around the fur for $1 first hand in Music Junction because they were clearing it out for some reason.
Wow, seriously.
Yeah.
Wow, Music Junctions, yeah.
That's
Yeah.
an old school reference. Yeah.
Okay, so back
1996
to
was also the year of the big Stone Temple Pilots.
And you notice one thing where we're talking about load, but yet we're talking about other stuff because that's how insignificant load
Yeah.
is to the year that they came in.
Except for
You know
you.
what? For me, it's significant as a Metallica album, but when you talk about all the other shit that was going on at that time, it's clear that it's certainly not the best metal album out there. Maybe even album period. But for some reason, to me, it's the speciality of the songs. Because the first two, I never had a Metallica album until St. Anger. I had the S&M and I had a Cutting Stance VCD.
oh,
And because of the timing, the music from that time was all from this era. So they played a lot of this kind of...
You're probably
So
touring
when
that album, lah. Yeah.
I had Cutting
to
Stance
me,
on
when
DVD.
I understood Metallica. Yeah, I understood Metallica from the songs and not from the albums at that point of time.
What's your favorite song from Load, Bill?
Oh, me probably. What's that song? Shit, I can't even name it. Bleeding Me is for me. Bleeding Me, yeah.
Okay. I have no favorite songs, so I'm not going to say.
Bleeding Me is the closest thing to an epic. It's an 8-minute long thing.
Actually, that's the thing about Load, right? Load is damn long as an album, right? Like 1 hour plus.
According to Wikipedia, 78 minutes. Yeah, it's long.
Yeah.
I can't make
on Spotify, it says 1 hour and 18 minutes.
Yeah, that's 78 minutes. Right? Yeah, that's 78
that could fit in a CD last time, eh?
A CD is probably 80
minutes.
Right?
Yeah, 80 minutes. Yeah, just remember.
Yeah, I think my favorite, it's really by default. So it's only King Nothing. Yeah. It's really by default.
I think King Nothing is a great song title, but
yeah, it's a great song title, but the song sucks.
Yeah,
I have nothing to say about it.
Yeah.
But no,
Blood and Semen, that's what.
Oh yeah, and the songs on this album is more mainstream because you can sing along to it, not the way you would sing. You won't be screaming and shouting when you sing these songs. You know what I mean? Like you'll actually sing it with a voice.
I think
it's definitely.
Actually, one thing I will say, right? Sorry, one thing I will say, right, is that even during their lousy period, right? Actually, James Hetfield as a vocalist, right, is getting better, and like you can tell he's taking lessons and learning to breathe properly.
He was cause he blew out his voice. But I think that one thing that the shift in his vocals also, right, during that period when they were playing Master of Puppets live, it's no longer Master, it's Master. You know, it was
he got more soul. He got more soulful over the years.
He started having that thing.
But I still love the old trashy James Hetfield voice. The old.
At the time, was James Hetfield big into country and all that, whereas Lars was damn big into like freaking Oasis.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, Oasis.
I remember reading the autobiography where they were saying like the two biggest influence on Metallica songwriting at the time, right, is Oasis and Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Wow, I love Lynyrd Skynyrd.
Yeah.
I could agree with the Skynyrd influences probably, but wow, I never knew Oasis was.
They say Lars are a big Oasis fan. Like last time when Lars was a teenager, right? Then he actually followed Diamond Head all around Europe their tour, right?
There's a group.
Then apparently during this era, right, he was having the same kind of fervor for Oasis already. Like in interviews, he would keep talking about how much he loves Oasis. Oh.
I like how you use the term fervor this time around.
Okay, so that's Load, the Come and Blood album, which later Cannibal Corpse will take inspiration from. Let's move to Reload. Which for me, I also give like 3 or less because I don't really care for the album at all.
For me, I think I'll just go first because I'm going to disappoint everyone.
Go ahead.
So like when I think of Load and Reload, I always think of it as one album. So if I were to take the best of Load and Reload, it's on par with Justice because of what it meant to me. But when I look at the songs on the album, I can clearly see that there's so many stuff that sucks. Or either sucks or not even that great. Fuel Memory, the first 5 songs were damn good. Fuel Memory, Unforgiven, and the rest sucks. Oh, I love Low Man's Lyric. Low Man's Lyric is fucking good. So what would I give it rating-wise? Less than Black, probably. Whatever I gave Black, one notch below.
Hey, apparently Fuel was written mostly by Kirk Hammett, yeah.
Really? Yeah.
The funny thing about Fuel, like, I think I always thought the intro to be a bit funny. But
give him feel.
but I thought the chorus hook was damn catchy. So
that one, right?
I love that part.
Give it to that.
That's the thing about this album. It's catchy, and when I first heard it, a guy that used to listen to Limp Bizkit and Papa Roach, this kind of music really fit.
I think to a certain extent, Reload, I prefer Reload a little bit more than Load. So it's probably based on the fact for The Unforgiven 2, because for some reason I really love the song.
For me, Unforgiven 2 is my top 5 easily. I think that's one of the things that holds it up.
I think for me, I feel it's a great song, so I will give this vanilla ice cream with chocolate sprinkles.
It's like a fried yong tau fu instead of yong tau fu.
Since the ingredients not so nice, right? At least you deep fry or what, then okay lah.
Or
become more acceptable.
fucking laksa yong tau fu or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the
I think
ingredients suck and it's not fresh, but okay lah, put laksa chap then okay.
Yeah. I think I will give it a higher rating. I will give it a 5 for your reload. It's because I listened to more songs from there. Yeah, some of the songs I like Fuel, The Unforgiven 2, this kind of songs. I think it's quite catchy, but I think it was also like there was a period of time me and my friends we used to hang out and then we will really just blast The Unforgiven 1 and Unforgiven 2 at the same time as well. So and we like that, like there's like, wow, there's an Unforgiven 1 and then there was an Unforgiven 2, there's a part 2 to it,
There's a part
There's a
3 later, right?
trees, yeah.
Definitely.
there's a part 3, but the part 3 has no link, I feel like part 1
the
and
part
part 2
3
has
shouldn't have been made. It reminds me of Godfather Part 1, Part 2, fucking awesome. Then Part 3 was like, man,
exactly.
You could have just not done that.
Yeah. So I'll just give it a 5.
I've got the worst fucking bladder. I just need to take a piss again. But
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright, go ahead.
Bob Rock was production in this.
Yeah. I recall like during this period of time, right, like a lot of my close friends, right, who are not into like super heavy thrash metal, right, they really like Reload album a lot. So that's how I got that's how I knew of songs like Fuel, Unforgiven.
I think most non-metal Metallica fans will probably say the same thing. When you ask them what they know about Metallica, it'll probably be these songs or the I Disappear stuff, or like no one. If you don't like metal, you won't listen to Master of Puppets under any conditions, I think.
I felt weird when I saw Kirk Hammett. He started to cut his hair, right? So his hair was damn short, right? Yeah,
Then he had a fucking lip ring or so. Then he started to wear the eyeshadow. Actually, their image this time.
The image was chalat. It was bad. And for me, I don't mind if that was what they were. If that was where they were at that point, I don't mind. But what I understand about is that they forced that look, right?
Because they're trying to be cool in a certain way.
But if that was how they were, I have no problem with that. But Kirk Hammett looks like a normal Filipino guy in that album. He doesn't look like cool like Santana. Now he have the Santana vibe from him. But
just the guy with eyeliner.
Okay, I think,
Hetfield was okay. I think he was the only okay person.
Like a country singer.
Yeah.
As in, it's not that you must have long hair, but if you're gonna cut short hair, right, at least it should look sweet, lah.
Yeah.
No, I felt a little bit
because you want to and not because the band.
I felt a little bit uncomfortable when Jason Newsted cut his hair, right? And he wore the beanie. Remember, he wore the beanie.
Yeah,
you can tell he don't want to cut one. Is that everybody else like, okay, guys.
And the worst part is Newsted headbangs as though he still had hair even when he had no hair.
Exactly.
He was still doing the thing. He would only do that if you had hair.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You know one of the interesting things about Jason Newsted's audition for Metallica, right, was that when he first met them, right, then they go into the jamming room, then they're about to do already. So James Hetfield asked him, okay, what song would you like to play? Then he replied him, right, any song, I know them all.
Oh.
He's like, whatever song from the first, he said any song, I know all of them.
No, Hetfield, Newsted was a big fan of the band to begin with.
Yep.
That's nice. It's such an amazing thing to be a fan and then you get chosen as the...
Who was he playing for at that point in time?
Flotsam and Jetsam or something like that. I can't remember
I love early Flotsam stuff as well. But
I've only heard their first album though, that album like the Doomsday for the Deceiver.
With the song Hammerhead, right?
Newsted made an album called Newsted.
Yeah.
Yes, I have his album with his signature.
It sounds like classic Metallica, Black Album Metallica.
That's what it sounds like. It sounds like Black Album Metallica.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a waste. Yeah, Jason Newsted is like the most metal member, right? But his stint was during the least metal period. That's why he left the band, right? As in, which is to me quite a good thing about like musical integrity, like you every day making millions, all this. Just shut up and play, lah.
Yeah.
Newsted did Blotted Signs or something also, right? Did he? Was Blotted Signs?
No. Blotted Signs is Alex Webster's side project.
Oh, sorry, fuck. I mixed up the bassists.
Yeah. Jason Newsted did this thing called Echo Brain.
Yeah, Echo Brain. Sorry.
I heard about
Echo Brain.
It was
not
not
Blotted
that
Signs,
good,
sorry.
And after that he joined Voivod also. Which is that's his thing lah. Okay, shall we move on to Saint Anger?
Oh, so we're done with Reload,
We're not gonna do
favorite track.
Oh yeah, favorite track of Reload. I'll start since I'm a fan.
Okay,
probably Low Man's lyric, even though Unforgiven 2 is iconic. Low Man's lyric, for some reason, in my history was a song that was very nice to me.
I don't even remember how the song goes there.
It's a very slow. It's not even a Metallica song. It's very slow.
But for me, it's just Unforgiven 2. I guess I can't I can't give a fair judgment on this album again as well. I think probably me saying Unforgiven 2 is probably like any football fan in the late 90s talking about David Beckham and Manchester United, you know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Who your favorite player? Oh, Beckham law.
Yeah.
I think
yeah.
I think my favorite song will be it's either Fuel or The Unforgiven, but I think I'm gonna choose Fuel. Yeah.
Avril Lavigne covered Fuel, right? For
No, but actually, honestly, when I
wasn't that
watched
bad.
that video, it wasn't that bad. But a lot of people were saying shit about that video. Like, I think it was.
I think people
was okay.
who just didn't like who she was in general, didn't
Yeah.
like the idea of her covering Metallica.
I thought the Sum 41 medley was insane. I thought it was good.
Oh, that was good.
Great,
No? When
yeah.
the guy did the solo, I was like, fuck.
They
guys
recently
can
did
play,
they recently did another Metallica medley again.
In rehearsal one, right?
I
The
think I saw
rehearsals
that,
that was great, yeah.
It was the Indian guy playing a guitar, right? I think for Sum
Yeah,
41.
correct.
Yep.
The Indian fellow one time he left Sum 41 to form his own metal band called Brown Brigade.
Yeah, I remember
Oh,
Brown
really?
Brigade. Yep. It was it's
It's alright. It's alright. Like,
yeah, I think if I think for Brown Brigade it's like if I had too much mala next morning I got Brown Brigade also.
Who was everybody brown in that band? Or-
I don't know. Maybe just him. Then he forced them to like, hey guys, this is my band. We're gonna call it Brown.
My favorite ultimate minority band would be System of a Down. You know, all these guys are completely
Armenian.
non-American.
Yeah, they're all Armenian one.
Yeah, they're all Armenians, Iranian, Iraqi Armenians. Very
I
interesting.
was just watching videos and reading up on Serge Tankian as well. It was fucking insane. I think
I love him too.
he's such a multi-dimensional like musician, like when it comes to art expression
He's
and
an interesting guy.
Being
I
an
saw the one where
he's a very interesting chap.
being
he
an
did the food
activist as
thing
well.
with the guy that died. What's his name? Bourdain. Bourdain went to Armenia and Serge was his guy.
Anthony Bourdain.
That was a-
Yeah. That one was
that was a
very
good
interesting.
episode. Very good episode. You should watch it. Armenia.
Okay, shall we move on to Saint Anger? Round my
All
neck.
right.
Tick, 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 tock.
Okay, before we go to Sin Anger, I would like to say that S&M had two songs that were new only for S&M. And
Really?
one of them is one of my favorites of all time. It's called No Leaf Clover. If any of you,
yeah, correct. That's right.
that
They
is a
debuted-
very
Yeah, I know
nice
I
song.
know No Live Clover is
Yeah, for me lah, for me. So now we're going to Sin Anger. Yeah.
I was just playing guitar to the song earlier on today.
I saw you. I think I commented. Oh yeah, I messaged you, right?
Just prepping myself for this session tonight.
Okay.
Saint Anger.
yeah.
I'm gonna give it a 5, just based on because right, I kind of like maybe four songs from the album, but the rest I don't care for at all. So to me, if you're gonna judge the album as a whole, right, if I only like 3 or 4 songs from an album of 10 over songs, right, then it's gonna be about 4 upon 10, lah.
True. I
think-
will follow through. I'll just get out of the way lah. This is the worst Metallica album of all time.
That's
But,
not controversial, right?
Yeah. So this is the part where we all could agree.
It's not an unpopular
I would-
opinion, so
Yeah. So I'll rank it at the bottom. I don't know what the bottom is. I wouldn't give it a 5. I would probably give it a 3 or 4.
I think
You know
I
what's the funny
will.
thing about this album? or
Yeah.
not? This was supposed to be their comeback album. No? It's
Yes.
like, after our Load and Reload Country, right, now we're gonna metal again.
And
come
this
up
was the
with one.
album that I followed them. Because before that,
2003, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
2003.
I didn't know Metallica when Reload came out, and I was waiting for Saint Anger. So I was following them in the studio. They used to have a website called Met on Tour, and they would
Oh yeah, correct.
Met
Yeah,
in the
I remember
studio.
that.
They would update people. So I was following them like crazy. I knew certain riffs that came out in the album. So like this was the most hyped up album for me. And then it just became like that. And you know what's the funny thing? When it first came out, I, in a way, convinced myself that it was damn good.
same.
Because I was buying into the whole, why they did this, what they were trying to do with it. So
But
I convinced myself that it was good. Yeah.
before the album came out, there was a leak on Napster, LimeWire, and Kazaa, right? Like
Yeah.
of Saint Anger, but it was some other song I remember. It wasn't fucking Saint Anger.
There was a lot of leaks of Metallica or fake Metallica songs. One of them is a band called is a Christian metal band.
Oh, I remember that. So
You
yeah,
know who they
there was
are?
a leak. There was a leak where like they say this is the new Metallica. Actually, it was
Yeah.
a totally different band or something like that, right?
Do they sound like Metallica at all?
They sound kind of like Metallica, and it's not bad. I became a fan of that band in the end. So. I forgot what
What's
the
that?
name.
Yeah,
There was a album that they made something about. I forgot. I'll Google it now, and you guys continue. I'll Google it.
Christianica.
I think I'm going to talk about Saint Anger, right? I think it's how do I mean I'm not going to go out there and say it's the worst fucking thing to ever be put out there in the music industry, because it's not.
That's
But I
because
think
Kanye West exists.
let's not get there for today. I think that when I first got it, just like Dale, I really wanted to like it, and I gave the album a few runs. And that's the thing, right? It's not that great an album, but it's a fucking long album. It's like what 76 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's also an hour plus.
So it was fucking exhausting to listen to, knowing that the songs are not the greatest. But then just this one fine day, I think it's probably like 10 years after I got the album, right? I got home fucking drunk one day, and then I think I was talking to Dilmark in the morning at one in time. So I think I got home like
I remember that night you were posting on Facebook about what you were doing, then you're giving track by track update.
yeah, I was I went home like 7 a.m. or something, drunk out of my mind, right? I for some reason I popped the CD into my computer and I started listening to it, and it's like, you know what, it's not the worst thing. And then when I started to really put myself in the shoes of the band since the $1 million paychecks, was that I think it was right after, like there's a lot of issues with the band, no rehab and all that kind of stuff, right? James was coming out of rehab for for alcoholism, right? So the thing was, Saint Anger was probably a cathartic album for him, and it's also something you can almost hear the kind of despair in his lyrics. Not the best lyrics by his standards, by a long shot. But I felt that I've always had a soft spot for music that has conviction. So just because of the conviction and the cathartic like element of this album, I'll probably give it like, I don't know, 5.5. Yeah, 5.5. I'm good with that.
George.
I think I will give it a 6 out of 10. Actually, this is Saint Anger was the first album I actually bought. The first physical album I actually bought. So this came out in 2003. I was 13 years old. And I remember last time when I bought this album, a few of my classmates also, they bought the album as well. So everyone was discussing about this album. And like the picture of Saint Anger is like a fist, right? Like a comical look. The album cover looks, it looks very cool because it's
nice album cover.
and the name Saint Anger sounds cool.
It sounded so awesome.
This
is gonna be good.
Do you remember? Do you remember when record labels were still doing fucking TV commercials for new albums? Saint Anger was like, they had an ad on Channel 5. I saw it, and there was just like this album blinking out there with the fist, like something like that.
I think I can recall.
Something about Metallica's back after how many years or something like that.
Yeah. So because like when I listen, I mean, of course my first songs were like Master of Puppets and all that, but it's just that because when I bought this album, right, I start to listen to it more. I put it into my CD player, and then I keep repeating the
this
tracks.
Is the first Metallica album that I listened to death.
Yeah.
Like over and over and over as an album. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the more I listen to like Frantic, some kind of monster, Saint Anger, Sweet Amber, this kind of songs. It's actually quite catchy during that time. And don't remember for 2003 it was very famous for what? Nu metal genre, right? During that time. Yeah. So during that time when Last Hour had this weird snare sounding, right? It didn't feel that weird to me. It wasn't obvious for me. It's because nu metal was already
time,
because it's all down tuned.
Actually, by the point in time, I think nu metal's dying out a little bit. I think that was the rise of metalcore already.
Correct. Yeah.
Kill Switch
Yeah.
Engage and Shadows Fall, all this.
Shadows Fall and Kill Switch.
They were fucking blowing up the charts at that point in time.
At that time, I was listening to
Unearth
Creed
as well.
and Three Doors Down, so.
You're listening to what?
Creed and Three Doors Down at that time.
Yeah, I think
They
I
probably were also.
No, but I think for me, because I started listening to like Slipknot more during this period of time. So it kind of like still the new metal thing still revolves around me during 2003. Yeah.
Yep.
Those
So
were
yeah, so the Christian band is called Eternal Decision. I can't believe I
Eternal
can't say it.
Decision.
Yeah, it's not bad. The latest album is 2000 Years of Metallica.
it is an eternal it is an
Thinking it was
eternal
Metallica
decision to submit to the Lord.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So-
It's
so-
not bad. It's not bad.
So, in what sense do they sound more like which album? Like the Load series
Much.
or
It sounds like maybe Master and Justice. So when it was leaked on
Really?
Napster, people
Serious?
was like, "Holy shit, Metallica's gonna go back to the era."
What do they call
Everyone-
it? Eternal decision. Right? I'm gonna Google that right now.
I'm gonna check it out.
yeah.
Except for Hunger. Hunger is the song that everyone used to mislabel as Metallica. Even if you search for Hunger lyrics, right, it says Metallica/Megadeth unreleased track. It's not-
Decision.
Oh, they're not.
Hunger.
They're not an old band. They're not a new band. They've been around.
Yeah. Been around for a while, yeah.
I'm on their Metal Archives page actually. Yeah. Interesting.
So when I first heard this song as a leak on Napster, I was like, "Holy shit!"
Okay, I just heard like a 2-second snippet of it. Right, the vocal is quite convincing.
Yeah.
Well, what do you listen to? What was the song?
The hunger. The lyrics are "I hunger for your word." You know, the word of Jesus.
Yeah.
Just go ahead.
It's quite convincing. It's quite convincing.
And it sounds like the early Metallica, right?
Just gonna listen.
I just jumped.
very quickly.
I just jumped into like one quick portion of
Yeah,
it.
I'm listening to the Hunger as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I can imagine during that era, right, when you cannot Google everything straight away, right, that you might be fooled.
People I believed it for a while, sir.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell me, I'll believe it as well.
Yeah.
My goodness, yeah, they're actually not bad. I think I'm going to listen to them.
Yeah, usually
After
they are not
after
bad.
this, yeah.
And
actually,
the
that's-
latest compilation album is called 2000 Years of Metallica because everybody thinks they're Metallica on the internet.
Yeah, I just heard it. It's okay. It would have
pretty
flown
good,
in.
right?
During the era when you cannot fact check everything, right, I can see how this fools a lot of people. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, I think one thing about Saint Anger is that you can't really divorce it from the documentary that went on at the time. There's some kind of monster documentary when they hired the sports psychologist, who worked with a
Therapist
few-
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be a sports psychologist who like work with football teams and stuff to make people prepare better. You know, if you watch the documentary, right, like whenever Lars is ranting about something, right, then he'll just follow him. So Lars, how did that make you feel?
I
Then
think
he'll
it's just
keep dressing
just a
weirdly.
lot.
Like he'll wear those very short shorts, right? Then he'll put his feet on the table. Then he will like ask this kind of questions
yeah.
and look at you in a very weird way. One, the whole thing very bizarre to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
they did a follow up to it, right? They did the follow up to some kind of monster. The monster lives, right?
They didn't. I didn't even know that. Yeah.
You can find it on Netflix if I'm not wrong. I watched it like a couple of months back.
I mean the whole thing you can sort of see how, like, you know, although these are grown ass men, right? So they look really, really childish when they're having this kind of stupid bickering, lah. But at the same time, you can sort of understand that like these people haven't really worked in a professional context and things like that one, right? Their lives, the trajectory of their lives is drastically different from the average person.
It's true.
So they don't really know how to deal with these things in the way that a normal person would, lah. Like
they-
the normal
they're on
person, the
they're on
normal
road,
person.
like all the time and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, the average person goes through professional disagreements all the time, so you kind of know how to deal with these things, lah. Whereas for them, because this is not something they've ever done because they've been in Metallica all their lives, right? So they don't really know how to deal with this shit, man. So it just manifests itself in some weird ways, lah. Like, remember there's one scene where like they were writing songs, right? So James plays this riff. I can't remember what riff it was. He just plays this riff, then Lars plays a drum beat over it. Then basically James don't like the drum beat that Lars is playing over it, right? But rather than just tell him, like him telling him that, bro, can you play like this instead of like that, right? Becomes such a fucking painful thing to watch. Where like you as a user, right? You as the viewer, right? You just look at these people doing it, and you're like, why the hell are y'all like skirting around the issue and fighting and throwing tantrums over this simple shit? Can you not just tell him? Like, that's the sort of feeling you get when you're watching this stuff, lah.
I think
But at the same time, you can also understand like why these people behave like this because of the circumstances.
Yeah, I think the most iconic part of Some Kind of Monster was the part where Lars Ulrich met Dave Mustaine, and then Dave was telling him like how he felt like
Was
when
that
he
on Some
kicked
Kind of
out.
Oh yeah,
Monster?
that was the
It
I
best.
think
was,
it
it
was
was.
yeah, Some Kind of Monster.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that segment was the most
Yeah.
iconic one for me.
Yeah, Dave Mustaine in his book was complaining that, the day that he came down, right, was his birthday, and his wife bought him a Mercedes. So he was supposed to come and receive it and celebrate with his family, right? But Lars called him and said, "Hey, we're doing this movie, very important. Can you come down?" So he was like saying his mood from the start is quite bad already, because it's like, number one, they didn't tell him they were gonna film it. They just say it's a therapy session. Then he was like, I really want to celebrate my birthday with my family instead of coming here to talk with this weirdo psychologist with y'all. But and then he said only when he arrived there, right, then Lars told him like, "Hey man, just to let you know, we're gonna be filming this." And he's like, "Oh, whatever, I'm here already, so we just do it."
Nice guy.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do we go on from here? Well, I mean, with all these things we've spoken about regarding Saint Anger, it's a huge album for them as well. I mean, commercially, I think they did okay with it, right? Because it was a big
They made a lot of money.
it was a big comeback album for them.
Yep.
But
Actually,
I think
lots of people still bought it, lah.
I think, but I also feel that because of the general consensus of the album, like people not liking it, a lot of things that people are not happy with. The album that followed, they did Death Magnetic after this, right? So I think the album that followed
6 years after it, or 8 years. Yeah.
So since we're wrapping this up soon and going into the next album soon, right? I think it became a point that the next album is almost like Metallica's got something to prove, right? Like, no, we still can do the heavy stuff we used to do. Like, we're still a heavy metal band. Like, but so that is why, like, I'm not the biggest fan of this period, because I mean they've got a lot to prove, but I also feel that the sound and everything is not of the standard.
The production was awful.
It's not of the standard. It's not of the standard we are used to. So I think to wrap it up.
But lyrically, it wasn't bad. Lyrically, it was good, I would say. But
I can't say I've got a favorite song of this
music
album also, and I feel that they drag out the songs for too long.
Yep. And the repetitiveness is just ridiculous.
There's many sections where like they just play one riff again and again and again, and you're gone forever, and there's no change.
Saint Anger is too long, so they sing the same thing, Saint Anger around my neck, like I don't know how many times, 100 times.
No, it almost sounds like it's still an unpolished jam session before they record it.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
And with the production, it still sounds like a jam session as well. But I can't pick out a song from this album. I'm not too sure.
There's one clip from Some Kind of Monster where like Bob Rock, he's showing he's showing Lars the recording, right? And he's telling Lars, okay, you see your snare for this part is out of time, so we need to edit. Then Lars throws a big fit about it. You see, you make my performance is so organic, right? But you make it non-organic because you keep editing it. And he like storms and he leaves the room. He storms out of the room. Then Bob Rock's like, we'll just leave it out of time.
They're just doing it out of like for the sake of the drama for that documentary.
Actually, I think so as well. Yeah,
it's editing. It might have been taken out of context and edited to fit the mood and the flow of the film, but. There's the
infamous part about they probably got the infamous part about Kirk Hammett failing to play that Some Kind of Monster riff, which they had to change for him.
But I also feel like at this point of time, sorry.
No, but to be fair, right? Most musicians go through that kind of thing, right? Sometimes your bandmates show you something simple, then for whatever reason that day you just don't get it right away. And number two, right? The riff is very simple, right? But there's a couple of things about it which is a little bit tricky, which maybe you just didn't get, lah.
That's true.
Yeah. And like Bob Rock could order them around before. If you saw them in a black what is it, Black Label? Black Album, right?
Black Labels, yeah.
They listen to him, but now it's like their heads got so big. Like sometimes you get so big as a person that nobody can tell you you're wrong, and it's probably like that.
Because during Black, because during Black, right, they were still kids, right? Then Bob Rock is this superstar producer who can come in and like, okay, you all don't know shit, so listen to me. Whereas in Saint Anger, because they were with him for so long already, right? Like, you're just another one of the guys, so fuck you also.
No, I think they've gotten so big that they're probably like a few meters off the ground already, when it comes to where they are.
Yeah, and nobody could criticize them. They know better than everybody there. They're
The only
legends.
person who can get criticized is Kirk Hammett lor, because they basically told him, okay, bro, you cannot play solos on this one. And he's like, okay, lor.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised that he just went okay, lor.
Yeah, and,
Like-
and he's not the best rhythm guitar player also. So yeah.
Best songs, anybody? Is that where we're leading to?
Some kind of monster. Only because of that clip.
Yeah.
I think for me would be Saint Anger. But it's out of like making fun of the Saint Anger album. So every time when people talk about Saint Anger, right, I will make that sound tong tong tong. I'll
I always
purposely
go into it.
I'll
Like,
purposely
I
make
always
that
laugh.
sound.
When Saint Anger is mentioned, I always take it as a joke. You know? Like I'll laugh. Like when someone
Yeah.
mentions Saint Anger, I'll be like, ha, yeah, Saint Anger. Like when someone says justice, you want like ha, you'll be like, yeah, justice.
Yeah.
But Saint Anger is like, ha. But for me, the best song is Unnamed Feeling. Yeah.
It's like whenever somebody brings up
I
Saint Anger,
like-
that means the conversation is going to be a something about something funny, right?
I like the Unnamed Feeling actually.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
For some weird reason, I like Invisible Kid also.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Very catchy.
Face
It's
of
very
its
catchy.
own.
Catchy. Yeah. Now that
I
you
think-
mentioned it, I should.
but
Like,
can
I
you
haven't heard
imagine,
this song in a long time.
Can you imagine, like-
album.
can you imagine probably during that period, right? It's like someone who has never heard of Metallica, and then like they pick up Saint Anger, and then like it's going around telling everyone, it's like, yes, I fucking love Metallica, I fucking love
Yeah.
Saint Anger. But-
Hey, I used to have this classmate who said that like his first album and first song was from Saint Anger, and then he was like, man, this is the shit, man. Metallica is so awesome. Yeah.
Actually,
So,
same.
I mean,
I got one classmate in JC last time, right? His favorite album. It's not as if he don't know the other albums, no. He know the other albums, no. But his favorite is Saint Anger.
Anger. I think my
Like
friend,
he listened to Justice,
yeah.
all right, but his favorite is Saint Anger.
Yeah, but my
That's
class,
weird.
like my
So
classmate,
if
he
you are
didn't
watching
know.
Brian, this is
Yeah.
what Brian thinks of you. sorry, Josh.
Yeah, so as in like my classmates, like one of them his first as I said, his first album was that, right? So he thought that Metallica actually sounded like this originally already to begin with. So he kind of loved Metallica for that as well.
So
Yeah.
is it he go back and then he find Ride the Lightning, and how come like that one?
Yeah, it's
Where's
like
my
he felt
where's
weird
my
lah.
tong tong tong?
Yeah, what the hell? Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean like he felt like this is Metallica. Are you sure or not? You know? Yeah.
Okay, shall we move on to? We surprisingly spent a lot more time on Saint Anger, but I get it. But I get it. It's a huge album for them.
Yeah. There's more to say about Saint Anger actually. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very nostalgic thing for me, Saint Anger, the album. Yeah.
That's the year that it came out in, lor.
it kind of makes us feel old, right? Saint Anger came out was like in secondary school.
2003.
Secondary school.
17 years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
And-
Fuck. Okay. That's magnetic.
For me, I'll move to the ratings first. For me, I like this even less than Saint Anger because, okay, there's a reason why we had a lot to say about Saint Anger just now, even though nobody really likes it as an album, because it has some character. Even though you may not like the character, but it has some character. To me, Death Magnetic, right, doesn't have character. It's basically just, okay, we need to play back this style because everybody hates us now, so we're gonna do it. But there's a lot of flaws in Death Magnetic. To me, right, a lot of the songwriting issues in Saint Anger is not addressed in Death Magnetic. There's still a lot of repetition. And the production is, although not as bad, right? The production is bad in a weird way. It's very loud. It keeps clipping.
The loud, yeah.
I hate it. I hate the production. I expected more from what the producer was Rick Rubin, right?
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin, yeah.
Yeah, I expected more from him. I was so disappointed with the production.
Rick Rubin
sounding.
actually is more like a hip hop producer and stuff. But apparently, right, I was reading interviews where they say he's very hands off. They say Bob Rock is the kind of fellow who's very involved. Like he will tell Hammett, "Oh, you play this scale, you don't play that scale," or he's very technical with the mixing also. Rick Rubin is more like he will just tell you nice or not nice. You know, he gives you very vague feedback.
I think I saw from Slayer interviews, right, that I think Rick Rubin was a lot more involved in his earlier days. I think as he got older or something, like he wasn't there for the sessions most of the time anymore or something.
They say you become creative director, like you approve work only.
in
Yeah, but
Metallica,
I'm
they
not sure,
did.
I might be wrong.
Yeah, they did it. They talked about Rubin when they said that the first thing he did is Rick Rubin came there and he took a nap on the sofa and asked them to play while he was taking a nap, and he was just like a sponge, just taking in everything, not saying anything, not giving any input, just taking in what they were saying, and then after that he said, "Okay, this is good, this is bad, this isn't good," something like that. So that's what I heard about Rubin.
Yeah,
I
but I think
remember
Rubin has done
Terry-
a great job.
yeah.
Has done like great work for
He-
albums during
The
that era.
things that
Like
he has done, yeah.
System of a Down and all that. It sounded great, I
Mm.
thought.
And he looked
Car-
like a guy that.
Kerry King from Slayer mentioned that when Rick Rubin hopped on to Death Magnetic album, right, he said that Metallica was a sinking ship. That was a comment he kind of gave like when he mentioned about Rick Rubin producing for Metallica.
I'll
Yeah, I
give
remember for that.
I'll give this album a 4 though. As it's
I
not
give it a 3. I give it a 3.
it's not memorable. I give it 4 probably based on the merit of the album art. I thought it's pretty cool album art lah.
It's basically the coffin with the magnet, like the iron fillings going in that direction, right?
I thought that was pretty cool take on the album art concept, but otherwise none of the songs are memorable. None of the songs are particularly great. Doesn't have the best sound.
For me, this is definitely better than Self-Destruct for me.
Okay.
And the sound sounded better on the Guitar Pro version. Not Guitar Pro. What was
Guitar
that
Pro?
name?
Guitar Hero.
Yeah.
Guitar Pro
Hero
versions.
So the production wasn't great. It's definitely better than Self-Destruct for me. There's a few songs that was in my system for a while. So I kept listening to Cyanide, Unforgiven 3 at some point, and The Day that never came, and All Nightmare Long. Yeah, the solo and all that was, to me, very good.
I remember All Nightmare Long, right, was a song for one of those WWE events. You know, last time the WWE monthly pay-per-views, right, they will always have one song for it, and it's usually a new song that's about to be released by some rock band. So All Nightmare Long was a song for one of the WrestleManias or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I don't know why you guys are giving like this album quite low ratings, but I'm gonna give them a 7 for this because I feel that after Saint Anger they actually put in the effort to kind of like come back to do what they originally sound like. Of course, it cannot be compared to like Justice for that era, but you can still see the effort through it. And I remember that time when they were actually recording, when the songs weren't released, right? I remember it was all quite hyped up about it. I was a big Metallica fan, right? I was talking about the first 5 albums to my friends most of the time last time, and then after that, when did they came out? This was back in 2008, right? Yeah. So when 2008, as I was telling you, 2008 probably I was listening to a lot of Kill 'Em All that period of time, and then when I heard that Death Magnetic is going to be released, and they said they're going to change it because they're no longer going to be Saint Anger during that time. It kind of hyped me up a lot. So when I first listened to it, of course I was still slightly disappointed by it, but I can see that they actually put in a lot of effort.
When I first heard it, I was actually not disappointed. I was happy actually. And this is the first Metallica album that I heard a lot. Like I kept, because previously I would only hear the songs that I liked via Napster. I never heard albums. Saint Anger is the only album that I heard that I didn't like. But this song I like. That is when I first started driving, if I'm not wrong. So I kept playing this song over and over and over again in my car for one period of time. So whenever I was in my car, I was always Death Magnetic. So I did enjoy it. And I think the first Metallica, that when they came to Singapore, when was that? It was after Death Magnetic, right?
Yes, it was after.
Yeah. So when I saw them live,
I worked during that show. That's how I saw them. That's how I got to see
really?
them.
I went to the concert.
Yeah, I was there also. Yeah, so like this album was very fresh at the time, and it's definitely not. It's better than Saint Anger, but it's not bad.
I think it's not.
Put it very close to the other albums, but maybe a notch below it.
I think it's not a bad album when it comes to a band effort, but I think that the reason why I never gave it I gave it a rather low rating is also because that despite it being a decent effort, it almost sounds like they're putting in an effort as a reaction to the backlash that was Saint Anger.
Yeah. Yep. And one more thing, I don't listen to it anymore. So that's how. So when even though at that point of time I was listening to it a lot, right? Now when I search Metallica, I never search for a single Death Magnetic song. Sometimes I listen to Saint Anger for fun.
I think only like 2 weeks ago I listened to The Day That Never Comes.
Never Comes.
Yeah, I was watching the music video. Remember about like Soldier, these two guys.
Yeah, I think I did also similar.
And there was like a.
I saw the music video before, so I remember the music video more than I remember the actual songs.
Yeah, that's true. That's quite true.
But anyway, to me, that's the reason for my dislike of it. Like, it feels like like Sada said, it's a reaction. It's like everybody say, wow, we're not metal anymore. So we need to have metal again. We need to have the fast, we must have the chugging, we must have the... It's like you throw in all the ingredients, right? Because you know people complain that don't have.
It's almost like you're pandering to the fans and the press, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, you know how the time fucking McDonald's come out with the loaded fries, then everybody complain not enough cheese and all that.
Let's
So
not
they
talk about McDonald's and loaded fries.
They say give us one more chance, we try again, then they whack the thing. You know. But yeah, as for favorite song from there, I don't even remember. Okay, I guess I remember the first song, like That Was Just Your Life or something like that.
Yeah, That Was Just Your Life. That was the first
That is
one.
the only song which I can remember a couple of riffs from, like that. That's the only one I can remember a couple of riffs from, so that's gonna be my favorite track.
I think my favorite one will be I think it's instrumental, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. Suicide and Redemption. Yeah, I think that's my favorite.
I don't know.
What, I don't even know what they sound like now.
See, that's the other thing. You notice, right? It's the first time in so long they've had an instrumental, right? Because they figured, hey, our old albums all got instrumental, so now since we're returning,
Just
right,
put
we
in,
must,
And
must put in one instrumental.
their
So.
ballad was on the fourth track, which is a lot like the first few.
Was it from
so
fourth?
they tried to follow that same
formula.
Oh, okay.
I can't name a favorite track because, to be honest, this album wasn't memorable to me at all. So even if I were to name any track, I mean, it probably like I probably don't remember half the song also. So I'm just gonna be fair and not say anything.
For me, I like Cyanide the most. It was the first song that they performed live before the album came out. I was listening to Cyanide a lot. But at the same time, the riffs in All Night Man Long was very like all the amount of solos and riffs that All Night Man Long had was the closest they've ever come to pre-Black Metallica. But that's it, yeah.
Gotcha.
And I don't listen to them anymore, yeah. So
probably I think probably I think like my favorite song, I think I just told you all, right, will be the
Suicide is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Cyanide.
All right.
Suicide.
Shall we move on to the last one?
Shall we just take a very short break before we move on to the last one, and then we do the wrap up also?
Yes.
Can.
All right.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Just need to take our place. I'll pause the recording again.
Eh,
All right.
And we're back for the final, almost the final like lap for this, and Justice for Music.
We'll wrap up the last album and then talk about a bit of things about the band in general. Okay, so move on to Hardwired to Self-Destruct. I actually give this a 7, which is the highest that I've scored on my personal list, right? This is the highest that I've scored any of the albums besides the first 4.
I will give it a 7 as well.
Yeah, I would also put it not as good as the first 4 or 5. Not as good as Load in my opinion, but probably on par with maybe Reload and much better than Death and Sin Anger.
Yeah,
But
give it a 7.
I
in terms of
think
number, I forgot. I don't even know what I'm talking about. In terms of numbers. I don't even know what I gave the others.
I think for me, I'll give it higher than Death Magnetic, so it's going to be a 7.5 for me. It's definitely heavier than Death. Yeah, for sure, right? You know, I mean, like it's definitely heavier. Like the tracks in there are like Morph into into Flame. Now That We Are Dead.
You like
Hardwired.
the Atlas song, or like?
Yeah, Atlas Rise.
Yeah, I like the Atlas song as well.
Yeah, they're all quite pretty heavy compared to Death Magnetic. So I feel like, you know, they are really old already. So they are still trying to be fast. I mean, like they really put in more effort to it, I feel.
I
compared
think
to
that
Death. Yeah.
I think the reason why it might sound better is not just because it's either it's faster or heavier. I think to a certain extent it's also because the songwriting is a lot stronger than Death Magnetic.
Yes.
Yep.
It was very
And
well
right, they're not trying to do that loudness war in the production already. It's just, you know, and the other thing is also that because they're not, this album, right, you can tell they're not trying to be heavy or metal for the sake of it already. They're just trying to write nice songs. So
Like it's a natural flow.
Yeah,
Right?
natural.
Yeah. So you notice even things like, for example, the Morph Into the Flame song, right? The rhythm guitar sound actually is, you can tell, like James Hetfield is like using those the traditional Gibson pickups on instead of the EMG. So it's not so heavy, right? But whatever lah, like I don't need to be heavy for the sake of it anymore. Now I'm just gonna use my favorite guitar to play this song. You know, that kind of thing.
And it's one other interesting is produced by some dude. What's his name? Edo Fidelman and
Right.
James and Lars. So it looks like it's almost self-produced with Greg Fidelman, whoever that is. I don't know.
No, no. Let's
Fidelman.
check
Oh,
out
he
what
does a lot
other.
of stuff. He does.
Let's check out what other things he did. Apparently, this
Standard
Greg Fidelman also
Blu-ray.
did. Apparently, this Greg Fidelman, right, also did Death Magnetic.
Oh, really?
But he also I'm gonna look at other things that he did
Yes.
now, right? He did
I
Slayer
thought
War
Death
Painted
Magnetic.
Blood also.
Oh, yeah. He was involved in Death Magnetic, but he wasn't the main.
He
the main
he,
boy.
al- he also did the last 2 Slipknot albums, including last year's one.
Oh.
So
Mm.
So it almost felt like Hardwire was almost a self-produced album with a guy with a bit of experience.
Oh, this guy also did Audio Slave, Subliminal versus Slipknot.
Okay, I wouldn't say that guy has a bit of experience. I would say the guy's been around.
But you must
been around the block for a bit.
his position, right? His position is mostly not as a producer. It's mostly as engineer, mixer.
Let me just sit down and use the computer.
Yeah. So I think Metallica hired a guy who knew what he was doing, but I think they just wanted to do it themselves.
Yeah, I think they had control over the entire sound, but
And it turned out.
this guy has to know how to.
Yeah.
It's
Because you don't really need producers in this day and age. Right? If you know how to use a computer, you could put up a pretty good recording of stuff.
The idea, the stereotype is always of the the all and knowledgeable producer, then the talented but green kids in the room, then the guy had to whip them into shape. Okay, guys, make sure you all do this and this and this.
I think that the only gripe I have for this, it's not a bad album. The only thing is like, dude, this album is too fucking long.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
each song is like 7 minutes, right? Yeah.
It's a double CD album, right? If the on the physical release.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't really remember.
It's double CD on a physical release if I'm not wrong. It's
In fact,
Death Magnetic was also 7 minutes long, right? Like for each track.
around there. Death Magnetic is also damn long. Actually, the past few albums all fucking long ones. Yeah.
Yeah, why?
I think they're just trying to max it out. Since the old days, they used to write 6, 7, 8 minute songs. They want to keep it up.
Like, was Master of Puppets that long?
Master of Puppets about 15 minutes around there.
Yeah.
Wow, seriously, that's a big difference.
I would think that for me, I like long albums sometimes if I have the time to sit down and listen to it. But otherwise, it's too exhausting for me. It's a good range for me is anywhere from 35. No, actually 35 to 15 minutes.
Yep. Same.
Yeah.
That's where my attention span is the best for this kind of albums. If not,
Basically,
for me, I was never
one commute lah.
I was never the kind of guy that will listen album by album, so I can't comment on it. I usually listen song by song unless like a few albums that I'm really waiting for. And I think in the history of my life, I only waited for Saint Anger, Hardwired, Death Magnetic, and whatever Iron Maiden does.
The other thing for Hardwired, one of the fun things that happened with Hardwired, I remember when they performed the Moth into the Flame for the Grammys.
Lady Gaga, is it?
Yeah, correct. Actually, right, if you go and look at the video of the full dress rehearsal, right, is damn solid. But on the actual performance, right, apparently James Hetfield might keep on spoiling. Then at one point he angry until like he kicked the mic stand over. Apparently he backstage he's like throwing guitar around.
I don't know which video I watched.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Lady Gaga and James Hetfield were playing, but I don't know whether it's the live one or the rehearsal one. But it wasn't that bad, surprisingly.
The full dress rehearsal one is solid. Is the live one that his mic keep on spoiling.
Oh, then I probably watched the rehearsal one.
So like Lady Gaga had to keep going to him and like pass him the mic like fucking karaoke like that one. Yeah. Which is quite embarrassing, right? Because this is the Grammys, right? It's like the biggest music event on, right? Then you can't even fix a few simple things. It's not as if Metallica's stage setup is very complicated, got orchestra and choir and all that. It's just 4 dudes and 1 extra mic.
Getting a microphone to work, so that's it.
Yeah.
And one of the funny things is during the jamming sessions when they were practicing for this, right? You can see Lady Gaga also like trying very politely to tell Lars like, hey, properly,
Surprisingly, her dance, like when she was dancing to Moth into Flame, it's like it's weird, but it's okay. Like, you expected it worse, but then when you watch her sing and dance at the same time, like it's not really that bad. Yeah, it kind of fit. Yeah,
actually, I really like Lady Gaga as a musician and as an artist as well. I went to her show in Singapore last time.
Yeah, she was a big Metallica fan, right?
Her favorite band's Iron Maiden.
Oh, Iron Maiden.
Oh, I love Iron Maiden.
And I think
Actually,
she was very influenced by Marilyn Manson, right?
no
I love
idea.
them.
But I think that I think likewise. I think Lady Gaga's a great musician. She's I think she's I mean, because of her image out there, she was she was marketed in a way that was great for the pop music scene. But that aside, if we come back to Metallica again, I really like the song "Halo on Fire" as well on this album. I think it's probably because I think they released all those rehearsal videos of them writing the songs or something, and I think they did one for "Halo on Fire." I might be wrong, I can't remember. So when I first heard it, I was like, it's interesting. Then when I heard the final product, okay, I really like this song.
Okay, favorite songs?
I think for mine will be "Spit Out the Bone."
Okay.
Yeah, because like when you first hear it, right, like the starting, like they're doing that thrash metal speed. Yeah, it's not super fast, but you can feel the whole thrash thing coming back from this specific track. So yeah, I think that's my favorite. Cider.
Oh, "Halo on Fire."
Yeah.
Mine's Morph into a Flame.
Yours is what?
I'm sorry, David. Yeah, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I think you have to adjust it a little bit more.
Can you hear me?
Really, really soft.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So mine is Confusion. Can you hear me?
Confusion. Okay.
Yeah.
Confusion.
Can't hear me.
Yeah, it's a little bit blurrish. Like
it's really soft.
Yeah, it's breaking up a bit also.
Okay, so that kind of wraps up their discography, I guess.
Wow.
And it took a lot longer than we expected.
Yeah, it's 2:24 a.m. where we're at now. So
yeah.
Okay, so any last words from Metallica before we wrap this up? I think
here's an interesting question. What's your favorite cover of a Metallica song?
By a third party, right?
Sorry?
By somebody else, right?
Yeah.
Like someone
not
Metallica song?
covering someone, right?
Yeah. No, as in somebody covering a Metallica song. I'll start. My favorite is actually Cannibal Corpse cover of No Remorse.
I like that cover.
Oh, I've heard that. Sir.
Oh, yeah. It's not bad.
That was on their I can't remember which album it was, the one after Sentence Open. I can't remember the name of the album.
I can't even remember which bands cover Metallica song. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah, I can't think of it right now. I can only remember Trivium did Master of Puppets, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do have a recollection in my head. I don't know whether this. Can you hear me now? Sorry.
Yeah.
I have a recollection of Motorhead doing Enter Sandman. Is that real or is that some?
Really?
I think that's real. Live, right? It was live.
Right? I think so. I've caught. I don't think it was live. I think it was a proper studio recording.
No, it's a studio version. I'm checking it out now.
It's really them, right? It's not some fake news.
No, I think they did. I think they did. I can't be sure.
Because it sounds just like them, but it could be one of those.
It's them. It's a real thing.
Oh, yeah, that was a good cover. Motorhead is nice, in that one.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's. Yeah.
Let me.
Yeah.
There's another band, Mighty Boss Stones, that did Enter Sandman also.
Oh, they did?
I think there's a lot of bands that cover Enter Sandman, Master of Puppets.
According to Metal Archives, right, Metallica is the two most covered metal bands are Metallica and Slayer.
Not surprised.
Which makes sense lah.
Okay, I don't know if if I can recall, there's this band that cover Metallica. I don't know if you all heard of this band called Evil. Evile.
Yeah, I know. They're one of the new trash bands or something.
Yeah. So apparently a lot of people have been saying like, oh, they are going to be the next Metallica in that sense, right? Because that guy,
that's what they said about Trivium as well.
Yeah. They have like the
British. At one point, everybody was saying Trivium will be the next Metallica one.
Yeah, so yeah, when I think I was watching a live where they did a cover of, if I can recall, it was Master of Puppets. And it sounded pretty good lah, like that cover, but it was a live raw recording, so
I think
cannot
Dream Theater
really
did
hear.
Master also, right?
They did.
If I'm not wrong, Machine Head did Battery as well, right?
Yes.
I think Limp Bizkit also did a Master of Puppets cover.
Limp Bizkit.
Snoop Dogg did a cover of Sad But True.
Oh yes,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
but it
Oh
was
my
out
God,
of like the timing. His timing, he's
Completely
too
out of-
like kind of slow, right?
I think that I don't know, man. I think when it comes to Metallica covers, I love the Sum 41 medley. I think that was great. But I can't really say there's a cover that I really like. I mean, the No Remorse cover was interesting, and I don't know, man. It's like if I listen to Metallica, I listen to Metallica. So I can't.
Sum 41, the medley was For Whom the Bell Tolls and then Master of Puppets, but they had one other song.
They had Enter Sandman or something. I can't remember. I think they had Enter
Okay.
Sandman also.
I know they started with For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yeah, I think I can't remember, but they had Enter Sandman also, if I'm not wrong.
Mm.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it for me.
Yep.
Yeah.
You guys want to talk about like the individual elements of the band, like Lars and stuff?
We can talk about that in another session, I think.
Yeah, because I think that's a pretty big like
That
can of worms
that might go
open.
on for hours. That could go
That
on
can be
for
its own topic.
hours. Yeah. But what about just a simple question. Jason or Trujillo?
For me,
They
I
are
think
very different style of bassist, lah.
yeah, different, but you know different style of bassist is true, but if you were to say like who should be in the band, right, I would say Jason because of his aggressiveness,
Yeah.
although he can't be as technical as Robert, but it's just that he has that presence, you know,
But
that
I think
aggressive presence like live.
I have to agree to disagree also. I think Jason's got great stage presence, but I think Trujillo got great stage presence also, but just different kind of presence. Like
Just
it wasn't
different,
that it's not an upfront aggression kind of thing. But I thought Rob is a great showman on stage also. That's how I feel.
I'm going to say Jason because actually I like Jason's backing vocals the most.
Mhm.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
That's why
you know during Creeping Death when he's shouting the die parts.
Yeah.
It's like
that's the best.
it's like
Very
Kirk Hammett don't even
angry,
need to. It's like Kirk Hammett don't even need to bother to sing his part. Just let.
Yeah.
Dude, I could never hear Kirk Hammett live. I don't know why he has a mic in front of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Like, only now without Jason
I have a
you can
feeling.
hear
I have a feeling he like never really bothered to like shout or project properly, and he just
pretending.
stands there and does it because you know.
He's shy lah, bro.
That's actually the first reason why I like Jason is his backing vocals. It was so much better. And then the second is obviously if you're talking about heavy metal, he's the ultimate. The way he headbang, his headbanging is just awesome.
Yeah, he's a metal bassist.
Okay, I'm gonna give it to Jason now. I mean, despite the fact that I like Rob.
But Trujillo is a much better bassist.
No, I'm giving it to Jason based on the mere fact that he wrote the fucking riff, opening riff for Blackened.
What's the opening riff of Blackened?
It's
It's not the backwards. The backward solo thing.
Oh, like they back, yeah.
No, not that swelling part. It's when the riff hits.
Oh, okay. I have one more last thing to say about Metallica live. Right. If you all go to their live gigs before, remember they always play this Ecstasy of Gold.
Yeah,
I love
that.
Entrance. Oh my god! Yeah, I when they played that, I was damn high last time, and I was like
best.
Very happy for like waiting for them to come out already.
And they played the actual video from the movie, The Good, the Bad,
Yeah.
damn nice. That was
I love it. Oh.
Oh, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah. Then you would see like they had snippets, right? Like they did videos, and then James was like warming up, like waiting to go on stage.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It's like very hyped up.
It fits very well.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've covered the entire Metallica discography, our personal ratings, and our thoughts on each album. So I think it's been a 2-hour-ish session.
Yeah, probably. Once we
great, I think. It's a huge discography with lots to talk about, so we spent quite a bit of time on this.
Yep.
So I think this is how
even
Sorry.
their bad albums, we spend quite a lot of time talking about that, which really speaks to the character of the band, despite whatever dips in quality they might have been going through at the time. So that says something.
Yeah.
So this is And Justice for Music. I'm Saida with George, Brian, and Dale Mark today, and we talked about all things Metallica. Rather, all albums Metallica.
Indeed.
We can have another long session just to talk about all things Metallica, but I think
I'm balls deep
that's it
into
for
Metallica.
that's it for this session. It's
All right.
about 2.5 hours, and I'm not even drunk yet. So
Well,
Okay,
time to
like,
get to that.